It's no secret that caviar is an expensive delicacy. A simple Google search will tell you that the finest caviar can cost upwards of $10,000 per kilogram. But why? Why is caviar so costly? And what makes Beluga caviar the most expensive caviar in the world? To answer these questions, we must take a journey back to the very beginning of caviar, all the way to the 18th century. Back then, caviar was nothing like the delicacy it is today. In fact, it wasn't even a delicacy at all. At the time, caviar was just considered a poor man's food. This was because it was made from sturgeon eggs, which were gathered by Russian peasants who would sell them to traveling merchants for about 25 cents a pound. So, caviar was cheap, but all that changed during the reign of Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great ruled over Russia from 1762 to 1796, and she absolutely loved caviar. She would eat it regularly, often with a glass of vodka. Catherine the Great also had an insatiable appetite for luxury goods, especially if they were rare or exclusive. This led her to create the first ever St. Petersburg Bourse, or stock exchange, where nobles could trade shares in businesses in return for exclusive rights to import certain luxury goods. These goods included things like tea, spices, and fabrics from Asia, as well as diamonds and other precious stones from India and South Africa. The nobles who invested in these businesses would then use their profits to buy more luxury goods, which helped to stimulate the economy. But Catherine the Great didn't just want to import luxury goods from other countries. She also wanted to promote the production of luxury goods within Russia itself. One of her goals was to make Russia into a major center for the production of caviar. To this end, she established the first royal sturgeon farm in the town of Pavlovsk on the Neva River in 1784. The royal sturgeon farm was highly successful, and soon Catherine the Great was receiving huge shipments of caviar every year. She enjoyed it so much that she began to eat it almost every day. Before long, word got around that the most delicious caviar in the world could be found in Russia. And as the demand for this luxurious food grew, so did its price. By the early 19th century, caviar was already considered a delicacy among the wealthy elite in Russia. During the reign of Nicholas I, the price of caviar had risen to such an extent that it was being sold at restaurants for as much as 100 rubles per pound. It was at this point that caviar really began to be seen as a symbol of wealth and power. Only the richest people in Russia could afford to eat it, and it was often served at state dinners and other important occasions. However, it wasn't until the 20th century that caviar truly became an international delicacy. As more and more people around the world became interested in Russian culture, they also became enamored with caviar. In 1900, Beluga caviar was first served at the Paris Exposition Universelle, or World S Fair, and it was an instant hit. People who tried it were blown away by its unique flavor and texture, and soon Beluga caviar started to be exported all over Europe and the United States. By the 1930s, Beluga caviar was one of the most expensive foods in the world, and prices were steadily climbing higher and higher. Today, beluga caviar is still considered to be the finest caviar in the world, and it costs over $10,000 per kilogram. So now you know how beluga caviar became one of the most expensive foods in the world. It's a story of luxury, excess, and the insatiable appetite of one woman, Catherine the Great. But there's another ingredient that has also contributed to the high cost of beluga caviar: its rarity. In order to produce beluga caviar, you need a sturgeon that weighs at least 100 pounds. And these large specimens are becoming increasingly rare because of overfishing and habitat loss. In fact, the beluga sturgeon is currently listed as critically endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN. This means that beluga caviar is becoming harder and harder to find, which is driving up its price. Another reason why beluga caviar is so expensive is because it takes a lot of work to harvest it. Each female sturgeon can produce up to 100,000 eggs, but only a small percentage of those eggs will be suitable for curing into caviar. That means that it takes a lot of sturgeon eggs to produce just a few pounds of caviar. The process of curing the eggs is also very delicate and time-consuming. If it's not done correctly, the eggs can easily spoil. And finally, because beluga caviar is so expensive, there's a lot of counterfeits out there. It can be difficult to know what's real and what's fake, which is another reason why prices are so high. Despite its expense, though, many people consider beluga caviar to be worth every penny. Its unique flavor and texture simply can't be matched by any other type of caviar. If you've never tried it, then you're definitely missing out on one of the most luxurious food experiences in the world. There are several different types of beluga caviar, but the most prized and expensive is beluga. Beluga eggs are the largest of any sturgeon species, which makes them easier to harvest and process. They have a distinctive grey color and an intense, buttery flavor that some compared to Frech or unsalted butter. Beluga caviar is often served on toast points or crackers and is typically paired with champagne or vodka. It can also be used as an ingredient in other dishes such as salads and soups. Another type of beluga caviar is called savruga. Savruga eggs are smaller than beluga eggs, but they're still larger than most other types of sturgeon eggs. They have a grayish-green color and a more subtle flavor than beluga caviar. Savruga caviar is often served in the same way as beluga caviar, but it's less expensive and more widely available. Finally, there's a type of beluga caviar called osetra. Osetra eggs are the smallest of the three main types of beluga caviar. They have a golden brown color and a firm texture. Osetra caviar has a distinct nutty flavor that's slightly less rich than beluga caviar. It's often served with blini or crepes and is popular in both Russia and France. While beluga caviar may be the most expensive food in the world, it's by no means the only luxury food out there. From truffles to Wagyu beef, the world is full of delicacies that are sure to please any foodie. So if you're feeling indulgent, be sure to try some of these other expensive foods. You may be surprised at just how delicious they are. Truffles are perhaps the most famous luxury food in the world. These mysterious fungi can only be found growing on the roots of certain trees, and they have a unique aroma that's often described as musky or even dirty. Despite their unusual smell, truffles are highly prized by gourmets for their intense flavor. White truffles are the most expensive and are typically found in Italy and France. Black truffles are also popular and can be found in many parts of the world. Truffles are often shaved over pasta dishes or risotto, and are also used in sauces and soups. Wagyu beef is another highly prized food that's become very popular in recent years. This Japanese beef is known for its intense marbling and rich flavor. Wagyu cattle are fed a special diet and are massaged regularly to keep them calm and relaxed. This results in meat that's not only delicious, but also very tender and juicy. The most expensive cut of Wagyu beef, which comes from cows that are raised in the Kobe region of Japan. Kobe beef is often grilled or brothy and is served with a variety of sauces. Finally, there's a luxury food that many people consider to be the ultimate indulgence: Alma's caviar. Alma's caviar is actually a type of beluga caviar that comes from the rarest and largest beluga sturgeons. These sturgeons can weigh up to 300 pounds and are found in the Caspian Sea. Alma's caviar is extremely hard to harvest because the beluga sturgeons are so elusive. In addition, the eggs are very fragile and must be handled very carefully. All of these factors make Alma's caviar extremely rare and expensive. In fact, it's so expensive that it's often called the sixth taste of luxury after truffles. Foie gras, lobster, champagne, and fine art. Alma's caviar is truly a delicacy fit for kings. Its eggs are larger and more succulent than other types of caviar and have an intense salty flavor with notes of honey and mint. It's often served on gold Versace plates and crystal cutlery and is paired with vintage champagne. If you want to experience the height of luxury, then be sure to try Alma's caviar. It may be the most expensive food in the world, but it's also one of the most rewarding. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed learning about beluga caviar, then I highly recommend watching our other videos on expensive foods. We have videos on the most expensive fruit in the world, the most expensive cheese in the world, and the most expensive pizza in the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.